who is a local investor, and how are we managing the interplay between the local and the foreign investor. I would state the following. One, according to the Investment Code Act, which was signed by the President on the March of 2019, a local investor is somebody from East Africa. Now that even Congolese, the DRC is part of the East African community, even an investor from DRC who invests here in Uganda is regarded as a local investor. That's number one. That should be clearly noted. Number two, a local investor is that person who has the capacity to start a business of $50,000 and above. That is in the law. When you show evidence that your business or your investment is $50,000 and beyond, Uganda Investment Authority gives you a license. When you apply for it, and my team there can take you through the procedures of applying for a license. But for a foreign investor, now I'm going into a bit of differences. You need to demonstrate that you have invested $500,000. $500,000, 500,000 United States dollars. So to get our license, there is another difference that I wanted to make. If you demonstrate as a Ugandan investor that you have invested $300,000, that you are employing Ugandans, then you actually qualify to apply for a 5 to 10 year tax holiday. But to qualify as a foreigner for the 10-year tax holiday, you must demonstrate that you have invested $10 million. Number three, if you are a local investor, now this applies to all, and you have started a business, if you show evidence that you have skilled Ugandans, trained them in something, and you have records when you are submitting your tax returns to URA, the amount of money you used to train, that should be refunded to you. It is called a deductible. If you invest in research and development and you have evidence, because again, Ugandans, we need to do proper records management and evidence, because public affairs are managed through evidence, and you show that you have done that, that money is also deductible. You go to URA, if you have paid taxes, but you have evidence that you spent some money on research, on your products and other things you're doing, that money is deductible. For a foreign investor, I also need to mention this. To be able to benefit from that 10-year tax holiday or any tax rebates, they have to show evidence that they have employed 70% of Ugandans. Very, very important. But not just employing them, they must also demonstrate that 70% of their payroll, when they are paying the salaries, those salaries are going where? To Ugandans. That's when they benefit from the tax incentives that we offer. There are other incentives. For instance, we give free land. Once you have our license, we give you free land to set up your factory in the industrial parks. Even when you look at Namanve, our premier and biggest industrial park, which is around 2,200 acres, 60% of the land owners, people who have the land in Namanve, are local investors, are Ugandans. As Uganda Investment Authority, I think we now have documentation regarding providing business opportunities for West Nile. And I think Solomon, Ngabo, you need, I don't know whether you have that gentleman, I don't know whether he has copies. If you don't have the copies, you need to come with the copies of the opportunities for West Nile, such that this team of business people, they can look at those opportunities, either pursue those opportunities or expand the opportunities that they already engaged with. That's number one. We have done the profiling. But number two, we have got a strong strategy for development of West Nile regarding investment. All these other issues of industrial water, industrial electricity, they are going to be solved. But we need to be prepared. And the president guided us and said you must at least have 3 industrial parks or more in West Nile. I want to thank the leadership of NEBI. They delivered to us 500 acres. And that park, the feasibility study is already being done. We are moving to the next stage of master planning, where will the roads pass within the industrial park? Where will the electricity substation be located? Where will the waste treatment plant be located? Okay? Where will the internet cables pass? Because before we now allocate to you the land for free, we need to know where you are going to locate your factory. But that happens after that master planning and that infrastructure within the park. We have to know where will the agro-processors be, because you don't want to mix agro-processors with people who are doing steel. Okay? Where will light manufacturing be? Where will heavy manufacturing be? So that's why the master planning is very necessary. And we are working on that for NEBI and for Yumbe. Because Yumbe delivered around 1,200 acres. It's one of the biggest, 1,200. Then Madi Okoro, also 500 acres. So why are we trying to do this? With the guidance of President Museveni, we know that once you have these industrial parks, infrastructure follows. There is the honorable member of parliament I had here, we recently visited Mbari Industrial Park together. And he was like, when will something like this happen in West Nile? I was like, we have started. You are in parliament, you are in the budget committee. Now we have the land, give us money as parliament to do infrastructure. This region borders two other countries that are members of the East African community. Because now DRC is a member of EAC. Okay? The South Sudan is a member of EAC. So what are the taxes applicable within the rubric of the East African community? Some of those things must be discussed. Yes. And the market is big. So if we set up factories here in Yumbe, in Nebi, in Madi Okoro, I can tell you that those products are going to be supplying those markets in the DRC and South Sudan and dominate those markets for the next 50 or so years. So we have to set ourselves up for the greater success.